I am so glad you are here. It is Magical Tuesday in my world. I'm Liz, and I wanted to talk about the worlds that we create when we opt to do magic in the world, or say a prayer, cast a spell, however you want to think of it. If you are petitioning a deity for a change in your life, or if you are enacting that change by declaring it as a spell under your own power, do it the way you want to do it. Here is where I think the ethical question lies. However you perform that magical spell, I do feel you are declaring to whatever it is you believe in, the universe, whatever deity or deities you believe in, that that is how the world should work. So, for example, if you do a very controversial thing in the magical world, which is a love spell, so that that person right there will ask you out, or that person right there will stay in the relationship with you, or that person right there will propose, progress the relationship in the way you want it progressed. Not only are you trying to get that done, but you're trying to get it done by manipulating that person into taking that act. You're not proposing, you're not taking on the onus of the task, you're asking them to, and you're doing it in a way in which you're not being straightforward with them, so you're attempting to manipulate them into the behavior you want to see from them. If you're okay living in a world where that's how people treat each other, in other words, someone else is going to come along and do the same to you at some point, or at many points, then fair dues. That's the world you live in. It's the world you want to create. Go for it. Be on the lookout for people who try to manipulate you then, con you out of your money, con you out of your time. I think that's what you're saying. That's what you're saying you want the world to look like, how you think it actually is, and perhaps even should be. So I'm not going to do that kind of love spell because I don't want to live in that world personally. That doesn't mean I'm never going to do a love spell. I have absolutely, with my partner's consent, done love spells to enhance our relationship. I have absolutely done love spells in which I open myself up to the possibility of relationships without a particular person in mind, perhaps with some ideals in mind, but not with a name, a face, a particular person. I leave that in the hands of the universe because I don't want to manipulate someone into a relationship with me. I want them to actually want to be there. And that's where the ethics of the shop have kind of always lied. That one, it's easier to do a spell on yourself than it is anybody else in the world, because you'll understand the nuances of the spell, the unspoken parts, the parts you couldn't quite put into words better than anyone else. That's why you should always do your own magic, in my opinion. And two, you're declaring what you want your world to look like. I don't want to manipulate someone. I don't want to manipulate someone into giving me a job. I don't want to manipulate someone into being in a relationship with me. I don't want to manipulate someone into selling me something if I'm not willing to take the consequences of that. So, for example, there are systems in which it is said you can absolutely do magic to get someone to sell you that thing you want, but you have to pay the asking price. That's the bargain that you make in that, so that you're not completely manipulating that person into something that looks like a con job. Instead, you pay fair price just because they sold it, and maybe sold it at a little bit of a premium because they weren't anxious to sell. You pay their price if you got them to sell through magic. That is one ethical position. Do you get them to sell and sell at the lowest price, and you pray, cast your spell, do your magic, get your angels on board to make it happen? Sure, but then expect the same in return from someone else. Anyway, a few random thoughts on magic for the day instead of an actual spell. Check out the other videos, of course. And on behalf of myself and the rest of the crew here at Megas Books and Herbs in Minneapolis, thank you so much for being your amazing magical you. We love that about you. And of course, we love the little magical things you can do right here in social media land while you're watching us. And we appreciate that too. I look forward to seeing you here at the shop in Minneapolis or online at magisbooks.com. And have an amazing week. You deserve it. Blessed be, everyone.